just so you're aware. And I just want to welcome everybody who might be catching up and watching this recording offline. Today should be a relatively short session. We've come quite a long ways with regard to our posts and the formatting of our posts on EduBlogs. And so first off, I want to say that the things that I have been assessing so far have by and large been done extremely well. And if marks have been lost for something, hopefully I've given you enough feedback that you can either keep your mark and use the feedback going forward, or if you so choose, add in elements or change or use that feedback to improve the prior product to resubmit it to gain some marks back. Obviously, the goal of the entire course is for you to learn and for you to be able to demonstrate your learning, not just to me, but to the world at large, as we're talking about communication and the idea that the projects that we can create can affect other people emotionally, can supply information, can supply motivation. There's many reasons that we will create media, but the primary purpose of the class is for you to actually do these things and for my feedback to be incorporated. If you think it's good feedback, I mean, I certainly couldn't be considered to be the be all end all of media criticism. I do have some experience, but again, media is a very subjective area of study, and some things that work for me may not work for somebody else. I have a preference with regard to genre and the way that movies are made and cast and written and whatnot, and you may have something that's completely different. So I am aware that there's a subjective nature to this, but there are certain things that all good productions have, and that's what I'm trying to focus on, leaving the rest to your creativity. So I'm reasonably comfortable with the things that I have seen in EduBlog so far, not just in the technical aspects of, say, using the formatting editor so that you can insert images and you know how to use ordered and unordered lists, you know how to insert images, you know how to embed video, you know how to create categories and tag things and hyperlink things. That stuff seems to be going very well and didn't have any issue with it. The extension, where now we're starting to use our skills and our technical skills with EduBlog to examine content specific to production, those first couple assignments have been going, or from what I've seen so far, are excellent as well. I've marked everything in the first part, I think up to assignment 6, A6, which was essentially a definition of and an explanation of the three phases of production. Pre-production, production, post-production, as well as some description of the main events and the main processes that must be accomplished in each of those stages. And what I've seen so far has been excellent. People are right on the mark. They understand not only do they understand the stages of production, but they're able to communicate it effectively and in a way that is user-friendly and also aesthetically pleasing and not overcomplicated or cluttered. The only other thing I would say is, as we continue to move forward with EduBlogs, let's start fixing some of those kind of commonish errors and unfinished sections of our websites. Our goal at the end of this course is for you to have a beautiful portfolio that demonstrates not only your understanding of how to communicate effectively via the web and interactive media, but also as a repository and showcase of other media projects that you've created that really demonstrate your creativity as well as your understanding of effective production. So we might as well get these EduBlog websites in shape now so that we can worry more about the projects themselves later in the course, as opposed to getting our website ready to accept them or show them off or whatnot. And what I mean by that is, although it's a blog website, we're going to be using it as a portfolio website. So it's sort of built for blogging, but at the same time, it is a website. It's got a dedicated URL. You can create pages, you can create menus, you can insert any kind of media you want, you can link to anything you want. So it acts as a regular website as well, and we're going to use it as a website portfolio / blog. So some of the things that I have been recommending to students whose blogs blog posts I've marked so far, little things that I think it's time that we address are if you picked a template, and everybody picked a template, nobody built a template from scratch. If you pick the template, chances are it's got the default image header, the image at the top of the page or inside the page or whatnot. Chances are it's got a default image header. It's probably got maybe a default tagline. The most common default tagline is, I think, just another EduBlog site or something like that. A lot of times it'll have default colors for links and backgrounds and images and margins and things like that. And not all of that stuff needs to be changed, but you need to make this your own because it's a template. You don't want your website to look and feel exactly like 1,000 other people who use the same template. So this is the point where you really should be starting to customize this and make it your own. And that doesn't mean you have to change everything, but you should personalize it. A lot of the themes came with a default menu, and in the default menu, there's just a sample page link, which just takes you to a blank page. And that was put into the theme or the template just to demonstrate that, hey, you can put whatever you want as a navigation menu, and you can rate all the pages or sections or categories or posts that you like and link to them in these main menu areas. And now's the time where we should be probably starting to replace those and build in some placeholders for our media projects as we move forward. And it might be easier if I just share my screen for a second. And I don't want to beat this to death here because I think I have mentioned it on prior videos, but I just wanted a quick demonstration of maybe what I'm talking about. Dashboard. So this is far from polished. I'm basically just using it for examples right now, but blog site. So for instance, I changed the background image. I didn't like the way that the default text came in because I thought it looked flat and I had contrast problems. So I actually created an image of my own, screened it back a little bit, put in some custom text. It's not clickable. It's just hopefully easy to read and of a style that contrasts nicely with the background. And I picked an image that I thought should convey a sense of, hey, we're into production here and video production. And I screened it back a little bit just so it wasn't quite so dark. Now, these are the sort of things that I did in Photoshop, but you can actually do them in Microsoft Word or any other image editing program you want to. And if you just have none of those skills at all, at least work with some images, either ones you took or ones you found on the internet to at minimum replace the default image. In this case, the default image was like a fox in the snow or something like that, but that really doesn't have anything to do with what I'm trying to communicate. And some things are a little bit buggy. Like I said, I can't seem to get rid of this little chunk here, despite me telling it not to be there. It'll be gone now, but now when I publish my site, it'll come back. But that's more like an internal problem with EduBlogs. It's not something that you or I would have done incorrectly. So I do understand that there are some bugs. With regard to the menu and the pages and whatnot, I had when I made this site the first time, and I should probably change the color of that because that's a little hard to read. In any case, when I first started playing around with the template of this one and published my site, it just had sample page. That was the only thing in this gray menu bar area. But it was really easy for me to create some placeholders. I know I'm going to have some audio projects. I know I'm going to have some interactive media projects. I know I'm going to have some video projects. I can change these if I need to, but I just set it up for things that I strongly suspect that I'm going to need. So I'm setting it up as a portfolio page that's branded toward what my personal tastes and also the theme that I'm going for. And I won't have to do a whole lot of work later, changing all these things around and building it when I want to be spending my time actually creating and producing media. So let's get it out of the way ahead of time, or at least get it well started. So I played around with the colors a little bit. It's really quite intuitive. I mean, these are the things you can change, and this does differ depending on the template you have, but most of them have things like the ability to change the header image and the ability to change all the colors and the ability to add menus and change menus. So I've got a menu here, and here's what my menu includes. It includes interactive media, video projects, audio editing. And you can have in your main menu, you can link them to a page, or you can link them to a post. You can link them to just about everything. I wanted 3 dedicated pages where I could post my media projects, not specifically posts, but pages. So it's an entire web page. And what goes on that web page is totally up to you. There's lots of different options. So I created 3 pages, and then when you build your menu or you adjust your menu, you can add items and you can remove items and you can reorder items. For instance, my home button here needs to be at a different level because it was hiding inside one of these pages. Now, hopefully when I preview that, it'll work properly and I'll actually have a home link in here as well. I'm just going to publish it for a second here and then come back. Yoink. And make sure that's going to the right place. It is. Okay. So hopefully at some point that will appear in my menu. And it is a little buggy, but generally speaking, it's pretty intuitive. Okay. For some reason, my home link isn't showing up, and I'm not sure why. It should be. It's in my menu. It's probably something that I can fix relatively easily, or I have it hidden for some reason. Do I have it hidden? No. Okay. Anyway, it's something specific to my website. I want a little home link there, so people can click back to the home page easily. In any case, you could create your own menu, and then you can always add items. And when it goes to adding items, it shows you what pages you have available, and it also shows you what posts you have available, and it shows you the categories that you've made, so you could link directly to a page that's just got the category news items, or it's just got the category media thoughts. You can also link it to specific tags. I think that's probably of limited value. Most of the time, you're probably going to be linking to pages. I created a page for audio editing, for video projects, and a third page for interactive media, and that's where I want my link, my main menu links to go to. So that should be relatively straightforward for you. Oh, there we go. Now my home's in there. I forgot to have the primary menu location button clicked, so now I've got home there as well, which just takes me back to the home page. So clicking on any of these links should take me to a specific page where at some point I will be including media projects that I've created. So if I publish this, and should be able to preview it somehow. Okay, so here's a rough preview. I've got a home button, takes me to the home page. I've got an interactive media link, and this is a whole page dedicated to interactive media. I can have anything I want in here. I can have images, I can have videos, I can have offsite links. It's not a post, it's a page, so it won't show up under recent posts. Okay, this was actually a post, not the same thing as this, but it does show up in your menu. So just to be aware of the difference between pages and posts. Ditto for video projects. I've got a video projects page. I just put some sample images in there just to kind of pre-populate it. And ditto for audio editing. I've just got a page set up, and all I've got in there is audio projects go here. So I'm just trying to set myself up because I know at some point I'm going to want to populate each one of these pages with things that I'm proud of and things I want to be part of my portfolio. So now is the time where you should be replacing those sample pages and building some different sections for your website and organizing it and changing the look and feel so that it's attractive, it's usable, it's uncluttered, it's easy to get where you're going. Already, I've noticed on a couple of the blog sites, if you don't play with the template too much, it's kind of difficult to navigate. There isn't an easy way to get back to home. There isn't an easy way to go into any of your categories. It's difficult once you're inside a specific post to find your way back to a certain spot of the website. So you want to make it so that a user can find whatever it is that they're looking for anywhere on your site within about, let's say 15 seconds. And that's just the reality of the web nowadays. And that's why the really big players in the search game, Google and Bing and whatnot, it's very stripped down. It's very straightforward. And the primary purpose of the website is to get you to information you need as quickly as possible, good information as quickly as possible. The goal of our website is more complex than that, and we're not looking for pages and indexes all around the world, from billions and billions of different servers. Our focus is on, we want our website to look good, we want it to show off our best projects, and we want it to be easy for people to find those projects and to find other things in the website. So if you keep the end user in mind as you're building your website, you're doing the right thing. And if you think about it, you should be doing that for all your media projects. It should all be about the end user. There is something to be said for, I'm creating a project, I'm creating media for me because it's something that I internalize and something that makes me feel good. And that's great. In that case, you are the end user, you are the target audience. Okay. So, but in generally speaking, most of the time you want to build it so that there's internal pride, but also you're building it as a communication piece for someone else. And in order for it to be effective, you have to make sure that you understand the motivations of your target audience, what it is they're interested in, what it is they're looking for, and what it is you want them to feel and how you're going to do that. So it's the same thing when you're building a film as when you're building a website. If you're building a website, you have to keep the end user in mind. What are they looking for? How can I impress them? How can I get them to the things that I want them to see as quickly and as easily as possible? So end user or target audience or whatever you want to call it, audience always, always, always should be at the forefront of your mind. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to go through today is improving the look and feel of your EduBlog. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was specific posts and how some students are doing a wonderful job of, and I meant to ask a specific student for permission to use his blog, one of his last posts as an exemplar. I didn't get a chance to do that. I might do that for the next section, but I will try to describe it as best I can. Students who are getting really good marks on these assignment 6 and assignment 7, which are about media production processes, are integrating skills that they've learned earlier with new information moving forward. And here's the type of things I'm talking about. For instance, in assignment 6, where the idea is to identify the processes in each stage of production and to give the user or the viewer, the audience, an idea as to what goes into each. The best posts I've seen so far have clearly broken it into 3 sections for pre-production, production, and post-production, have included some minor imagery or video or something, have included a bullet list of the tasks, and if there's a term or a process, green screening or something like that the user might not be familiar with, they've provided a hyperlink to an external source to tell them a little bit more about green screening or chroma keying or things like that. So they've also been tagged well, so keywords inside the post about production and pre-production, script writing, that sort of thing, have been tagged appropriately, and also the entire post has been put in a category that makes sense. So if you see uncategorized as your only category, it means you haven't done something that you needed to do in assignment 2 or 3. But now that most people have those skills and have those built into their EduBlogs, if there is a media production category or something of that nature, and your post has appropriate tags in it and it's been categorized in the right spot, that is a very, very sure sign to me that not only do you understand the current information and not only do you understand the stages of production and what's involved in each, but you're also expressing your learning to me in a way that answers the current question, as well as incorporating certain things from prior lessons to make your post more attractive and more usable. Now, the caution I would give in this regard is you have to find a balance. If you try to throw every single skill and everything has 2 images and 3 videos and using a bunch of different colors in different places, and you got every single word on your page hyperlinked or tagged or something like that, well, clearly that's not effective. It turns into clutter and people just turn off. So the point is to find a balance where you include enough of those elements that it makes your post better, okay, more interesting, look better, and be easier for the person to find information easily. That's the balance you want to find, instead of just throwing every single skill, HTML skill and EduBlog tool and widget added that you can. Don't clutter it, but you should be drawing from prior skills to find that balance between usability, content, and beauty, and then overwhelming people. One thing I will say for sure, though, is really every post should include some sort of visual element. That's the way the web is. Shorter is typically better unless you're writing an essay of some type, and that's the purpose of it. Enough information without overwhelming the user with information. Some sort of descriptive or visual element, and every post should have tags, and it should be tagged, and every post should be categorized. I think that's something that should be consistent across all of them. And I think the use of off-site or in-site hyperlinking can also be effective if it's not overused. For instance, I had a student today whose post on assignment 7 was obviously very clearly linked to the post on 6 because they're both dealing with the stages of production. So they had a link in assignment 7 that actually linked back to the post for assignment 6 for a specific, the script writing or something like that, linked between their 2 posts, which I thought was a good idea. And it didn't just take you to the old post, because the danger when you're linking to something is you want it to open in a new window, because if it opens in the same window, they've essentially left your website and gone to somebody else's website, and that's not what you want. Whereas if you have a link open in a new window, they can stay on your website and they can also see the additional information. Oh, that's what green screening is. And then they can close that and they're still on your website. So as far as website user interface on a website, that would be a preferred method because you never want them leaving your site. But in this case, this student had linked back to a prior post, and it was done in a way that was very effective. So if you need more information, I could click this, I could find it quickly, and then I can continue on with the post. It was punctuated by a couple of multimedia, by two very specific multimedia projects, and they were both compared and contrasted well as in regard to, hey, they all had script writing, they all had storyboarding, or both projects had scripting and storyboarding and the things that you need in pre-production, production, and post-production. But they took attention, or they paid attention to drawing out a couple that were different. So in contrasting what would have needed to have been done for the first piece of media versus what needed to be done for the second piece of media, by saying they both used the storyboarding process, but it would have looked different here than here because of, then you're really starting to demonstrate that you understand what these processes are and why they're done. If you just list, well, this video needed these processes and this video needed these processes, you're not really explaining, you're not really drawing deeper into the content or diving deeper into the content to explain how to contrast the two. I mean, really part of comparison is contrasting. You could reasonably say that every major motion picture needs a script, and that's true, but it's not helpful. If you're saying, if you're comparing, say, the movie Jaws with the movie The Blair Witch Project, yeah, they both had a script, but the way the script was written was so remarkably different. And for maybe planning locations, if you've got a movie that's in essentially one building or one room versus a movie that takes place across 4 different continents and 10 different countries, sure, they both had location planning, but the location planning for the single building is going to be so much different, so much less expensive than the location planning where you had to go all over the place. So by diving in a little deeper and drawing attention to some of those contrasts, you're producing evidence for me that you understand what it is you're talking about. So that's, I think, what I wanted to say is with regard to moving forward with the EduBlog posts and continually improving our portfolio website here, is do your best to draw from the skills that we've learned prior. Try to find that balance. Keep things concise yet informative. Make them beautiful, and make sure they match the theme of your website. Okay, so most people are doing a very good job of this, but I am noticing that there are a lot of people that grab their original template, didn't change it much, and then as they add new posts, they're not really drawing from prior skills and including things like hyperlinks and lists and tags when appropriate. So are there any questions today? I don't think I want to take that any further. It's a little bit of a shorter session, but I want to make sure I send you back to the course website and keep moving forward. There's nothing specific that has jumped out at me at they're doing this incorrectly and we need to fix it right away. Most of the things that I've seen, the feedback that I'm giving you right now, and hopefully the feedback that you're getting through the assignments themselves are quite minor. Minor recommendations on how to improve your projects or your posts or whatnot, as opposed to oh, this is totally wrong, we have to go right back to the drawing board. So very pleased so far. And for those people who have not engaged in the class yet, I'm going to be making some phone calls and sending some emails out this week, either Friday or at latest Monday morning. So if you have not engaged in the class, if your plans have changed and you're no longer planning on taking the course online, please let me know as soon as possible, so that I can, we can work on, a plan to get you going and get you caught up, or if your plans have changed, we'll deal with that as well. But now is the time, if you're interested in engaging in this class and you want to work toward earning a credit. We only have 45 days in the class in total, and we're already at the end of essentially week 2.5. So there's a lot of work to do still, and I don't want to overwhelm you, but starting, if you're going to start the class and you haven't yet, you need to do it soon. You can't afford to leave it any longer. So I'm always available via email. I'm available in these live sessions. I'm here to help. I want to help you meet your goals for this class, whatever they are. just let me know what I can do for you, and I will, within reason, I will make every attempt to make sure that you are successful and you meet your goals. And that's all I've got for today. So thank you for your time. If there's any questions, fire away. I'll wait for a bit here, and if there aren't, by all means, continue on with your learning about communication media and your development of interactive media projects.
Bye, Mr. Dunbar. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks for joining us. Take care. Not seeing or hearing any questions, so I think we're in good shape. So take care of yourselves and let me know what I can do to help you.